Okay. Let's see. I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, if you can just mute yourself, so that'd be great.
Better.
We're getting a little bit of feedback. Okay.
So, Jasper.
So this is the detoxification part of the program. And I want to talk about, you know, why would we need to think about detoxification? Because isn't that something that just happens in our body automatically? Is it really something that that we need to think about? But there's a lot going on in our environment, so we do need to think about it. We have things like food sensitivities, which might be affecting us, sugar addiction, chemicals in our food, in our environment. We have medications, a lot of sensitivities out there, dairy and gluten, alcohol. And what would be the benefits if we were to improve our detoxification? So our energy is going to increase. A lot of times you'll see skin rashes resolve, mood improves, your blood sugar stabilizes. It can help with weight loss. Sometimes what's inhibiting us in weight loss is some of the toxins that are in our body. Can clear brain fog, reduce joint pain. And what I really love, I love helping clients to feel empowered. So, you know, to feel good about yourself, feel like you have some control over your health. And there is some science behind detoxification. So what I'm showing you here is the main organ that supports detoxification in our body is our liver. And basically, if we break it down pretty simply, there's two ways that the liver is working on detoxification, phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. So in the first phase, all these toxins can be coming in from the things we talked about, like, you know, environmental contaminants, pesticides in our food, drugs, and the enzymes in the liver break those down. And when the enzymes break down these substances, they typically form free radicals, right? And we've kind of, I think most of us have heard about how free radicals cause damage in our body. But we need to break down these toxins because they also would cause damage in the body. So phase 1, we've broken those down into free radicals. Now phase 2, we need something to neutralize those free radicals, and those would be antioxidants. So you probably hear that term all the time. You need more antioxidants. Well, this is why. So the antioxidants, we get a lot of those from our colorful fruits and vegetables. And that's why it's important to eat a lot of colorful fruits and vegetables, because they're helping with phase 2 detoxification, those antioxidant needs. The way that, now once the liver, right, has broken down and neutralized these toxins, we need to eliminate them from the body. So the ways that we eliminate are basically the three things on the left there, which is through our urine, through our bowel movements, and through sweating. So those are main detoxification processes. The main detoxification organ is our liver. And so urine, that's why it's so important for us to drink enough water, right? Because as the water flushes through our body and we urinate, we're eliminating toxins. And same thing with bowel movements. Like constipation is not just that it's uncomfortable for us, but we're also means that, right, that stool is sitting there in our intestines longer and longer and longer, and our body then is not eliminating the toxins and they can be reabsorbed. So thinking about our bowels, it's very important for us to have regular bowel movements. I know we, as nutritionists, we get used to talking about these things. And then sweating. So, I mean, I really actually love to go out for a run and sweat. And, you know, some people don't enjoy sweating as much, but it's an important process in our body. And we need to make sure that, yes, we're exercising, but we're also exercising to the point of inducing sweat so that we can eliminate those toxins. And then if possible, after sweating, to take a shower and eliminate whatever, right, to rinse off whatever's accumulated and been released through our sweat. So going a little bit more into symptoms, and what I do for people who do the one-on-one consults with me is I'll go through, I have them do what's called the MSQ questionnaire, and we go through looking at in detail these kind of symptoms and whether or not detoxification is needed. But a lot of times when we're having a buildup in our system of toxins, we'll start to see digestive tract symptoms, like we might see bloating or pain on eating. We'll see more joint and muscle aches, anxiety, poor memory, all these things that are listed there, sinus problems. And then there's medical conditions that can benefit from detoxification. So we've got like cancer or thyroid imbalances, diabetes, chemical sensitivities. All these can be aided when we work on detoxification. And the way I like to think about it is both long-term and short-term. So we hear a lot of people say, well, I'm doing a cleanse, or, you know, I'm doing a detox now. And I think that that's on the right side of the equation there, the short-term, and that can be helpful. But it's also about long-term. It's like anything, right? There's not really quick fixes that solve a problem entirely. Like that short-term can help because we've had too much buildup in our system. But really what we want to do is work on the long-term of not building anything up in our system. So that's limiting what's coming in for toxins, and then increasing constantly our dietary factors that can help with the detoxification and supporting healthy elimination, right? If we are going to work on reducing our constipation for 1 week versus reducing our constipation throughout the entire year, you know, it's obviously going to be more beneficial to work on it long term. But certainly the short term, we can take some herbs and supplements. We can modify our diet more radically to have some quick wins and try and do a higher scale elimination for a short time. And those things are done with like the cleanses or a drastically modified diet and herbs that support elimination pathways. So I have some ideas here around how long-term, first we'll go over, we can kind of reduce what's coming into our life and into our bodies. And one of the ways is around our healthy living, so food and packaging. And foods, right, is really buying organic as much as we can. Sometimes we have to make a choice as to what's most important or not important, and I'll go into some of those kind of highlights of what might be more important or less. Water, right, is, like we said, water is going to help you with urination. So half your body weight in ounces of water a day, and sometimes tracking that short term can help to make sure you're getting enough. But at the same time, we don't want to be taking in water that's now also has contamination in it. So even if, like if we live in the city, do we have a water filter so we can filter out chlorine? And avoiding plastic water bottles as much as possible, because those could be leaching like plastic additives like BPA into your water. So where you can, use glass or ceramic or stainless steel, and guess what? Add a benefit that they're reusable, right? And we're helping the environment. And the other thing with plastics that I like to do is I don't microwave anything in plastics anymore. When I was going through my program, I did a organic acid test, which is one of the tests that we nutritionists can do to look for buildup of toxins in the body. And I had a large amount of styrene, and I think it was from microwaving the plastics. So I take anything like out of a plastic container, put it in a ceramic bowl or a plate, and then microwave it, because I just don't want to increase anything in my body. We work too hard, right, to be healthy. And our health is like our health is what it's all about, right? Without our health, none of the rest of it really matters. And I've seen that for a lot of people who, you know, have their struggles that they go through. So on the organic fruits and vegetables, I showed you this, and then I was going to show you, I pulled up the website. So the best way to look for what's the most advisable organic foods to buy is this Environmental Working Group website. I don't know if you've all been to this site, but ewg.org. They have tons of good information. They have the Dirty 12 and the Clean 15, with strawberries was the #1 contaminated produce. So really important to buy organic strawberries. Avocados were the #1 least contaminated. But they also have information on here on fish, and there's just a whole bunch of other good information. So kind of fun to poke around later on that website if that's interesting to you. And I put that website right down here on the slides. Interesting fact was that a single sample of strawberries showed more than 20 different pesticides when they took that. Spinach is another high contaminated produce item. This is from their website as well. This is the Good Seafood Guide. And some of the best bets are cold water fish like salmon and sardines. These are also really high in omega-3s, which are helpful for so many different studies coming out on the health benefits of omega-3s. Salmon also wild caught if possible, that's going to be least contaminated and has higher vitamin D than the farm raised. This is one of my favorite slides, and this is an interesting website too that you can go back to. I put this down, this nancyappleton.com website, but on Licking the Sugar Habit. And she has a list there of 146 reasons why sugar is ruining your health. And you can probably identify with most of them. It's so addictive, and it's addictive for a number of different reasons. And some of it has to do with, I mean, I think we sometimes beat ourselves up over why can't I kick that sugar habit? But there's actual physiological things going on in our body, like our microbiome, all the guts in our intestines and our stomach that are communicating with our brain, and they want to survive, and they're telling our brain, feed me more sugar. So there is a true addiction there, and it can be difficult to overcome. So kind of being kind with ourselves, that it's and not beating ourselves up, but making steps towards where we want to be, where we can feel empowered, right? Like we said at the beginning. So sugar can suppress your immune system. It upsets the mineral relationships in your body. We know that it plays effect with our mood, being anxiety, depression. It produces a rise in cholesterol, and it also tends to lower the good cholesterol. So it's twofold there. It's linked to dysbiosis, so which means like that the microbiome, all the bugs in our intestines become unbalanced, and so it's linked to that. And also chromium deficiency. Sometimes when we're looking at people with type 2 diabetes, they have a higher incidence of having low chromium in their diet, and that's because the chromium is being used up in trying to process the sugar in the blood. So more information there if you're interested in all that, how to kick the sugar habit and all that sugar kind of affects us with. Plenty of reasons there why to eliminate sugar. And trust me, I love sweets, so I understand, but I've gotten a lot better through all of this work I've done on nutrition at having very, very little processed sugar anymore. Just because I know how poorly it makes me feel. But we can also think about our personal living products, like hair care, skin care, deodorant, even dental work, and how can we minimize the toxins there. So looking at our hair care products, you know, why if we're going and we're buying organic strawberries, would we want to then get in the shower and put like sodium lauryl sulfate on our head? It's worth it to take a look at your beauty products there, and maybe there's some changes that you can make. Same thing with skincare and makeup, and antiperspirants. So kind of avoiding the aluminum containing antiperspirants. They've been linked to Alzheimer's, and really sweating, right, is one of our ways of eliminating toxins. So why do we want to stop that natural body process? And those of you who know me know that my daughters are like avid backpackers. I just picked one of them up today. She backpacked here because she's getting ready to do the PCT. And I'm sure you're asking, where's this going? But they smell when you pick them up. Really bad. Yeah. And so I got used to it. And I'm like, hey, if they can smell like that, I'm not using deodorant anymore either. So, yeah. So I don't use it. I don't know if I don't think I smelled that bad. I don't smell like the backpackers, so all is good.
They just let the bacteria grow.
You smell. And then in our home, can we look at how our home is built and what products we're using? And in our consumerism kind of culture of needing to always replace something with something new, well, a lot of times when you're replacing like carpet, say, with some new carpet, now you have off-gassing, and how is that going to affect you? Same thing with like electromagnetic fields. Can we store like our electronics when we're charging them overnight? Can we move those into like another room or off away from the head of the bed? And that can help with sleep too. And that's a simple thing, right? Not too hard. So then what I wanted to talk about is short-term detoxification. So these are some of the things that I use for short-term detoxification. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of products that I use, but it doesn't have to be products either. Your short-term detoxification could be eliminating all processed sugar for a week. This is a 5-day fast mimicking diet that I've used with clients. I have a couple of these boxes of this particular plan in the studio if anyone does think that they want to do it and wants to grab it who's local. This is a doctor out at University of California. He's done a lot of work on fasting and how fasting can help us to regenerate cells. And so I've had good success with clients on this one. It's 5 days. Although it's fasting, there are some food that you eat. I've done it myself too a couple times now, where you have a granola bar for breakfast and then you have a couple soups and some olives. It is fasting, so it's not much food, but it's enough that I was able to do everything that I usually do. And usually my clients, it's usually for some of my clients who are looking for some weight loss, because typically people have lost in those 5 days between 5 and 6 pounds, and then that's given them some empowerment. And it helps to reset the microbiome to those, bugs that are in our intestines when we do a fast program. And that can give us a little bit more control over making better choices as we go forward. But the doctor who developed this was not looking necessarily for weight loss. He was looking at increasing longevity. And so his study is all around how it increased cellular regeneration. And like on the 4th and 5th day, there's a large amount of cellular regeneration and insulin growth factor. So he's been able to document some success there at his longevity studies.
I have a real quick question.
Yes,
What kind of cell regrowth are we talking about?
stem cells.
Stem cells.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
And he does use it. He has been using it for cancer patients. And he's using it with some success for cancer patients. I don't have any cancer clients myself, and I might be more hesitant to use it for cancer clients because a lot of times for cancer clients, one of the main things you're trying to eliminate is their kind of what's called like wasting and their loss of weight, because that can be what's most dangerous to them. And I would be concerned that that might increase weight loss with them. But he's showing a lot of benefits with it. And same thing with like the ketogenic diet and cancer patients has shown some help. And so, and right, if the fasting is kind of a short-term ketosis, so they're related to each other. These are another couple. These are not fasting diets, and these have herbal supplements with them that help to increase. So some of the herbal supplements can really help to increase the enzymes in the liver, and so increasing those two phase 1 and phase 2 pathways, especially the phase 1 pathway. And I was kind of a funny story, but the metagenics one. Gary and I decided to do it, and then he had to have a blood test done for his arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, and then his liver enzymes were raised, and it was because of doing the cleanse. So it does work to raise the liver enzymes, which you only want to do short term. But that's the metagenics diet. Cleanse is 10 days, and that has shakes, and then there's a very prescribed diet plan that goes with it. I have one of those at the studio. And then the biotics cleanse, I can, if you're at a distance and you're interested in doing it, I can send you a script for that. These are only available from healthcare providers. I can send you a script for the biotics one. That is a 15-day cleanse, and I just did that one. That one has where you do 2 shakes a day and then 1 meal a day. And there's supplements that help with the cleansing. And the last idea, I just want, this is like, these are really very different ideas on cleanse programs. This is khichdi, and this comes more from an Ayurvedic perspective than a traditional like herbalist or nutritionist perspective. But because of my yoga background, I've done khichdi cleanses a number of times. I've done them with clients too. And this is a easily digested food. It's basically, you make this dish of rice. It has specific Ayurvedic herbs in it, and then you can put in vegetables, and it's got, for the protein, it's got the yellow dal in it. It's very delicious, but that's what you eat entirely for your cleanse period, which you can choose. That's for like about 4 days would be a typical cleanse. I have some websites listed down there that you can go to. Banyan Botanicals is a good source for it. You can get it off of Amazon too. But Banyan Botanicals has a lot of information on like how to actually do a khichdi cleanse if you're interested in trying that at some point. There's a Triphala is a herb blend that's used that helps with the detoxification pathways, mostly with increasing bowel movements. And so as you think about these things that we've talked about, and what you might like to do for detoxification, these are some ideas I have here. Short term, it's like modifying your diet. So do you think, oh, I'd like to eliminate dairy, because I really think that dairy's been causing me some inflammation, right? So is it a trigger food that you select, or is there an environmental toxin that you decide to eliminate? Or is it adopting some kind of prescribed regimen, like we went over? Or aside from diet, are there lifestyle things? So like in yoga, the more that we do twists, right? If we're doing twists, we're helping to increase blood flow to our intestines. We're hopefully helping to increase elimination. So it might be I'm going to do a lot of yoga twists this week. Or de-stressing. So I didn't talk too much about that, but I'm going to write a blog soon that's going to be on stress, the #1 toxin, because that it is. Stress creates so many different problems in our body. And so if we can reduce our stress, everything else works more efficiently, because as we are under stress, it's as if we're running from the tiger, right? The tiger is trying to eat us and we need to run. And that's what stress does to us, even if it's just that we're worried because we can't get onto Zoom and we were supposed to be on Zoom at 7 o'clock, right? It's still the tiger. And that's how our body reacts. And so how can we...
Claire's cat.
Yeah. So how can we think about, eliminating stress more? Is it taking a bath, and like taking a bath with putting some salts in so that the salts can energetically release some of that toxin? Or are there supplements like antioxidants that we want to take to support detoxification? So, and then let me just, before we go, I'm going to show you, this is the recipe for the beet soup that I was telling you about. And so the beets are going to help, help in a couple of different ways. Beets actually help to increase the enzymes that work on the phase 1 detoxification. And then, how colorful beets are. Well, when we have color, it's antioxidants. And so they have tons of antioxidants that help with that phase 2 detoxification. So beets are one of the best foods for supporting detox. And this is a really easy recipe to make to support.
Do you use the stems and the leaves, or just the root?
I use just the root for the beet soup.
This is our kitty cat. She needs a detox.
She definitely needs a detox.
Okay, so take just a minute to think about, right? I showed you in Practice Better where you'll have, it says, to identify your detox plan. You can even go in there now if you want, because you can open up another tab and type in what your detox plan is going to be. And then what I'd like to do is kind of go around with our cameras and talk about what we've thought about for our detox plan. While you're doing that, are there any questions at all?
Oh, I had a couple.
Yes.
Like when you say we can detox, let's say eliminate sugar for a week and see what happens, how long reasonably does it take to really start feeling the results of detoxing? I mean, because it builds up over a period of time. So
if you're detoxing from sugar, for instance, it kind of depends on what you're detoxing for.
Okay.
But if I do like an elimination diet with people, usually they start to feel some initial results within a week.
Okay.
And then by the end of I'll do it for a month. By the end of the month, they've felt a lot more. But with sugar, you can feel worse before you feel better. And you likely will feel worse before you feel better. That bad news and good news, I guess. The first 48 hours are the hardest. And so you can feel headaches, you can feel moodiness, angry, you might even feel sluggish because you're used to getting that like high and low of the blood sugar to keep you going energetically. And then once you get beyond there, usually to about like day 3, you start to feel so much more even, and you're like, wow, I'm starting to feel better. And then that's when you start to feel like the joint pain might start decreasing, and then that will continue to increase over, you know, for at least a couple of weeks with sugar.
Right. And would that include sugar in fruits too, or are fruits separate because there's vitamins and fiber and minerals and stuff?
So like when I do an eating plan with someone, when they're my one-on-one client, typically the number of servings of fruit, depending upon what plan we're looking at, might be 2 servings of fruit a day. So it depends on really how much fruit we're eating, whether or not we would need to reduce that. But usually if somebody's just starting out, because we'll look at what is it that their diet consists of, and you know, going from A to Z is really hard. Like it takes steps. So usually I would just start out with eliminating all refined sugars. And I would still leave in things, even I probably would still, for most people, still leave in fruits. I probably would still leave in honey even, or maple syrup, but it depends on what you're trying to achieve and how much of those other things you're eating, because it might make sense to eliminate those as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Would that beet soup make a soup? That's a good detox. Like you could do that twice a day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
They look good.
Deb, is there more information about the herbs and supplements in the handouts that are on the website?
Okay.
For the programs, you mean?
Yes, you just had mentioned herbs that help with either elimination or detox. Is there a list of herbs that are on the documents you provided us?
So this is the document I've provided you. If you want to know about the herbs that were in those specific cleanses, you could go to those websites.
Gotcha.
What I will say, like some herbs that I love for detoxing, and I make a detox blend tea, there's one product which I recommend to a lot of different people called Reishi Roast, and it's a blend of mushrooms, reishi and chaga, but it's also got roasted dandelion root, which is good for liver detoxification. And that product has a bunch of adaptogens in it too, and it's got some cinnamon in it. It's real tasty. It tastes like coffee, but it's completely herbs. Milky oats are wonderful for liver detoxification. That's one of the herbs that I would use for detox. And, you know, if we're detoxing from stress, we also could think about like just adding in some herb teas, like maybe a holy basil herb tea, and then you're going to increase your water content, right, so that you can increase our urination.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other one was the Triphala is a good. Triphala is the Ayurvedic blend of herbs used with the Pitri cleanse, but Triphala you could use with any kind of cleansing. It's going to help to increase bowel movements.
What if you want to slow down your?
Yes, well, that's important too, because so that's important for a different reason than detoxification, but slowing down your bowel movements is important because we want to have enough time to absorb the nutrients we need, right? And I work with clients on that. I have quite a few clients, especially clients who've had like gallbladder surgery. That can be really a problem for them. And there's a lot of things we can do to slow it down. And you're going to want to probably stay away from some of the things which would be an issue. Maybe maybe you might know some trigger foods too, and maybe those are foods that you want to eliminate in your detox week, and try and see, if you can feel better. Sometimes our body intuition is pretty strong, and I work a lot with helping clients to kind of pull that out. I mean, dairy might be one to eliminate. Dairy often, some people has that effect. Any other questions? Did you guys have time to think about what you would like to do?
Byron's going to start. He's going to offer one here. What are you
Okay, thank you, Byron.
I think the Kachari sounds very interesting to me. And you said it would be a 4-day?
Typically it's a 4-day, but you could choose how long you want to do. It's actually really delicious.
We
Sounds
do
very good.
like dal. It's quite tasty.
Yeah, it's one of the things I really love. So
Yeah.
I don't know 4 days of it.
I know. I think I might grow tired of eating it.
You could decide to do one day. That's it. Yeah.
Well, I think we'd probably try a couple days, see if that helps at all.
When I do it, I get to the point where I'm like, because I'll make up like a batch of it, and then I'm like, it's gonna be fresh kitchery, not the reheated kitchery, and I get all excited.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that sounds reasonable.
That sounds good.
I think I'm going to strive to eliminate some refined sugars and actually even maple syrup, which I've come to use a lot of, thinking it's got nutrients, and I use it in my coffee. I just ran out of it this morning, so it's a perfect opportunity not to use it. So I think taking that out of my diet, and I want to make a plan to really drink a lot more filtered water. I think I don't drink enough, and that doesn't do me well. So less sugar, more water, and we'll try some of this Kachari stuff. Oh, and the bubble baths. Yeah, the baths.
Oh yeah,
Epsom
she's all over the bubble baths.
And some twists. I like that.
Okay, very good. Anybody else want to share?
Blair,
Sure. Should I?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna make that soup and try to use that for like 2 meals a day.
Awesome.
And then definitely I really need to work on refined sugar.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's definitely an addiction.
You have to kind of think about it for yourself on, some people do better with gradual eliminations, or like saying, okay, I can have a cookie every Friday, and then that helps them. For me personally, what works best is just, as soon as I let it creep in at all, it wants to like consume me. So
yeah, I'm the same. It's either like all or nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's almost like an alcoholic, an alcoholic can't just have one drink.
Oh my God, it so is.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great, Claire. What were you thinking, Claudia? Are you thinking sugar as well?
Refined sugar, but it's always when I can't get through that, like you said, it gets worse before it gets better.
It does, yeah. But
So
it will get better. I
push through.
promise you, it gets better.
Okay. So that, and then definitely more twists. I like that. And drinking more water. I mean, even non-filtered. I was at work, working today, and I went like 4 or 5 hours without drinking anything because I was just working. And here, especially in Denver, it's so dry in the altitude. you really have to drink a lot of water. And I think that's a big problem for me. And especially with having digestive issues, like we talked about briefly, I feel like I'm losing a lot of fluid that way too. So those are probably 4 things I want to focus on.
Yeah, both having water and protein are going to help you with that sugar elimination.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
And more colorful foods.
Yeah, nice.
Beets, yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
And I have to say, it's encouraging knowing that other people are going through this and possibly suffering too. It's like I'm not in this alone. So I like that.
Yeah.
You're totally not alone.
Passion, suffering together.
What if you have to travel?
If you have to travel, so back, tell me more about how that is difficult.
Well, you don't have control over your diet if you're eating at a restaurant.
Well, so one of the things that I would do when I traveled for work is sometimes I had to go out to meals with people because I had to be social, because you're at a work function. But sometimes I was just traveling and I didn't necessarily have to go meet with anybody. So I would go to a grocery store instead of going out to eat. And I would go buy myself some like Whole Foods to eat. If I had to go out to eat, then I would try to pick something on the menu that's whole food based and something that's more of the leafy greens, that doesn't have sauce on it. And then I would also, like, even now if I go to a restaurant, I usually ask for double the vegetables. I'm like, put more vegetables on, as many as you can, and I'll get more vegetables. I don't know, does those kind of ideas help, or is there a more specific question around what's challenging? Are you still there, Greg?
Yeah. I might have to go to Montreal next week, so I don't know what I would eat in Montreal. I don't know if there's Whole Foods there or not.
Where are you going?
Montreal.
Oh, you should. I think that would be a relatively easy place compared to like around here.
At least you're not going to Memphis, Tennessee.
I mean, just don't eat the poutine. those French fries with all the stuff on top of them. But no, I think.
Oh, ew.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have that when I was there, but that's a big thing up there, which is not healthy.
Oh.
But see if you can find I know that they have. I know they have Starbucks there, and sometimes in Starbucks you can find like just the whole food snacks that have like some of the veggies. But I would think you would be able to find a grocery store there. I mean, they have all different types of. There was one breakfast place I went to in Montreal that was amazing with. They had a great chia seed pudding. I can't remember the name of it. Search for breakfast and chia seed pudding, and maybe you'll find that restaurant.
I would also recommend being very wary of airport food and just pack yourself a snack pack with carrot sticks and celery sticks and raw nuts, and which then can carry over to your hotel room. But, save money and save toxins by avoiding airport food.
That's a great idea, Kathy, because you're still doing a lot of traveling. Do you have other suggestions, Greg?
No, I mean, I just got back from New Orleans with a group that was vegan, some vegan, and mostly like celiac. And That was tricky to navigate, but we made it work. You just have to ask for a few alterations and
And are you supposed to cut out like all alcohol, any wine or beer?
So alcohol, I mean, that's going to be your choice, right? Because this is your personal detox plan for the week. Alcohol just gets converted to glucose in the body. It's the same basically as eating like a candy bar. So if you're really looking to detox for a week, I would say eliminate alcohol. But like I said, we live in our own lives. And so for you, it might be that, you know what, I've got so much stress going on this week with my job and I need to do this work. So I'm going to think about eliminating alcohol next week, or I'm going to have one drink instead of two. You know, you need to figure out we don't want to set goals for ourselves that are unmanageable because, right, we're not going to feel very empowered then. We want to figure out for ourselves, like, what are the steps that we can take that help us to feel better, and both mentally and physically. So it doesn't have to be something huge. It can be something small, and small steps add up and they start us on that path. And also having, you know, a small win at the beginning helps us to feel more energetic to keep going.
it's a good point.
Yeah. I do think that like all of this, everything around nutrition eventually comes down to body kindness and how do we, you know, love ourselves. And when we're loving ourselves, we want to make good choices for ourselves. But it's very difficult for us to get there because there's so many messages in society and so much that we've lived through where we really have become disconnected from ourselves and how do we treat ourselves with kindness. And a lot of it's just beating ourselves up. So I kind of offer a lot of guidance here, but it's for you to figure out what is good for you. And even though I offer guidance, there's no hard rules and there's no good or bad foods. That doesn't exist. I was doing this workshop once, and somebody said, well, what about white bread? Isn't that a bad food? And I was like, no, because, you know, if your mother made you white bread toast with cinnamon on it, and that was like, and you felt a lot of love from that white bread toast with cinnamon on it, then, and so once a week you make yourself that, and you feel this connection with your mom and that love, then that white bread toast is fine to eat. There's no good or bad foods. That being said, then right after I had that lecture, I was looking up a Michael Pollan book, and he has a quote in there that says, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead.
Oh no.
I always look at things different ways.
Cinnamon changes the color
I
for
know.
sure. Yeah, it turns it kind of into brown bread. Lots of cinnamon.
Right, there you go.
With butter.
Eaten white bread in 5 years. All I eat is Ezekiel bread.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that stuff is good.
I
Big
love
love
that.
to Montreal.
Won't even eat white bread in Montreal. I don't do that.
So I know Kirsten and Bev, we haven't heard from you. Do you have any questions, or do you have anything you want to add?
I don't have any questions. I was just typing up my goals for this week, and I wanted to try the beet soup, maybe to have for lunches for a couple of days.
Nice.
I feel like since we work together, I've really reduced refined sugars, but I want to be really cognizant of it because I know they sneak in.
Yeah.
And once they sneak in but hard. And I also think I'm going to try the Kachari cleanse for probably 2 or 3 days. I don't know. I'm going to figure out how many days I feel up for that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So I just got home. I was in the car. That's why I wasn't talking before. I had a meeting. I definitely want to do the twists. I seem to gravitate towards twists because I have a lot of intestinal problems, and I think just naturally my body wants that. So I'm going to do more of those during the week. I need to refocus on hydrating. I drink a lot of water during the day, but I have a really active job and I just don't think I'm getting enough. So I need to just refocus on that. And then I have to look over some of the other stuff because I joined a little bit late. So.
Okay, no worries. I will post a recording of this too, so you can listen to it.
Perfect.
And then if you have any questions, and any questions anybody has, if they're private questions, you can send them through the Practice Better system to me. Or if there are like questions that somebody else might benefit from, like any of the questions that we've asked here, go ahead and post them to the Facebook group and I can respond on there, and then everybody can chime in, and maybe, you know, like Kathy chimed in with things for the airport. Other people might have good suggestions too.
Well, thank you so much. This is a lot of info, a lot of good info.
Good, good.
Excited.
So
Thank you.
Send everybody a form to fill out, a review form, and I appreciate your feedback. And I hope that you have a really great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Nice to meet everybody.
So.
Nice to meet you guys. Bye-bye.
Now, how do I get out of here? Ah.